Ivy Forrester finally realizes that the damage is real. What she called concern has turned into betrayal, and now Electra Forrester is the one left carrying the pain. That is the heart of this April 23, The Bold and the Beautiful Spoilers story. This is not just about Ivy's opinion of Will Spencer anymore. This is not just about her belief that Electra deserves better. This is about Ivy crossing a line, breaking trust, and being forced to face what that has done to her own family. For a while now, Ivy has been standing her ground. She has clearly believed that Electra should not be with Will. In Ivy's eyes, Electra deserves better. She has also believed that Electra belongs with R.J. Forrester instead. That belief has been driving her choices, and that is exactly why this situation has become so painful. Because Ivy did not just have an opinion, she acted on it. And that is where everything fell apart. Electra has understandably turned against Ivy over the stolen letter news.
From Electra's point of view, this was not love. It was manipulation. It was Ivy stepping into her personal life and deciding that her own judgment mattered more than Electra's right to choose for herself. That kind of betrayal cuts deep. What makes it even more complicated is that Ivy's motives were not malicious. She truly believed she was doing the right thing. She believed she was protecting Electra. She believed she was helping. But good intentions do not erase the damage once trust has been broken. And that is the harsh truth Ivy is finally being forced to confront. She only ever wanted the best for Electra, but she took her plot way too far. That is the key to this whole story. Ivy may have started from a place of concern, but she crossed into control. She stopped respecting Electra's boundaries. She stopped trusting Electra to make her own decisions. And once that happened, the hurt became unavoidable. But here is where the emotional shift really begins. On April 23rd, Ivy proves that she still has a heart, despite all her messy actions lately. She has an epiphany. She finally sees just how much her betrayal has affected Electra. For the first time, the walls come down, the defensiveness fades, the certainty disappears. What is left is guilt, heartbreak, and a painful understanding that she caused far more damage than she wanted to admit. That changes everything, because now this is no longer about whether Ivy thinks she was right about Will. It is no longer about whether RJ would be better for Electra. The focus moves where it belongs, to the broken bond between Ivy and Electra. That is the real story. Ivy will take Electra's hand and repeatedly insist that she is so sorry. That image alone says a lot. Ivy, who has been so firm in her beliefs, is finally cracking under the weight of what she has done. She is no longer defending herself. She is no longer trying to justify the interference. She is finally looking directly at Electra's pain. And that is not a small moment. Because sometimes an apology only matters when the person giving it truly understands the hurt they caused. Ivy seems to be reaching that point now. She is not just sorry because she got caught. She is sorry because she finally sees the emotional damage in front of her. And then comes the line that may hit hardest. As Ivy tears up, she puts a twist on her favorite phrase and admits that interfering in Electra's life wasn't proper. It wasn't proper at all. That line matters because it is more than regret. It is recognition. Ivy is finally naming what she did. She interfered. She crossed a boundary. She inserted herself where she did not belong. And now she has to sit in the consequences of that choice. For viewers, that moment could be powerful, because yes, it is good to know that Ivy is finally showing remorse. Yes, it matters that she is emotional. Yes, it matters that she is finally taking responsibility. But none of that automatically solves the real problem. Electra is still hurt. And that's where it gets even heavier. Electra already warned that she would never forgive Ivy for this. Those words were not casual. They came from pain.
They came from betrayal. They came from the realization that someone she trusted made a huge decision about her life without respecting her feelings at all. That kind of wound does not heal in one conversation. So even though Ivy is finally sorry, the big question remains: is it enough? Is this heartfelt apology enough to break through all the anger and all the pain? Or is it simply too late? Right now it feels like the answer is far from simple, because Electra has every reason to stay guarded. She has every reason to keep her distance. She has every reason to look at Ivy's tears and still feel the weight of what was done to her. An apology may be sincere, but sincerity does not erase betrayal. It does not magically rebuild trust, and it does not give Ivy a free pass just because she is finally facing the truth. What happens next may be even harder for Ivy than admitting she was wrong. She may have to accept that Electra does not owe her immediate forgiveness. That may be the lesson Ivy is finally being forced to learn. Electra needs time, and that may be the one thing Ivy cannot speed up. That is why this storyline works. It does not pretend that one emotional apology fixes everything. It does not pretend that tears automatically heal a broken bond. Instead, it shows something much more honest. Ivy may be ready to say sorry, but Electra may not be ready to let her back in. And that difference means everything. There is a reason it is tough to believe Electra will be willing to forgive Ivy and move on from all the manipulation anytime soon. The damage here is personal. This was not a misunderstanding. This was not a simple disagreement. This was Ivy stepping into Electra's life, making choices for her, and leaving behind a mess that Electra now has to emotionally recover from. That takes time, real time. Electra will need a chance to heal, and that means Ivy may have to get used to her niece shutting her out for a while. That feels fair. In fact, it feels necessary. If Electra immediately forgave Ivy and moved on, the betrayal would lose its emotional weight. The story would feel rushed. But this setup suggests something deeper. It suggests consequences. And Ivy deserves to face those consequences. Not because she is evil, not because she does not care, but because caring does not excuse control. Wanting the best for someone does not give you the right to take over their life. That is the painful truth underneath all of this, and it may be the most valuable lesson Ivy has ever had to learn. Love without respect becomes interference. Concern without boundaries becomes manipulation. And that is exactly what Ivy has to understand now. The good thing for Ivy is that her remorse seems real. She is not brushing this aside. She is not doubling down. She is not trying to blame Electra for reacting strongly. She is crying. She is apologizing. She is openly admitting that what she did was wrong. That matters. It matters because it shows growth. It matters because it shows awareness. And it matters because without that awareness, there would be no hope at all for repairing this family bond. But awareness is only the beginning. Repair is something else. That is why Ivy should not get an instant pass. She should not expect one either. If she truly understands how badly she hurt Electra, then she has to understand that forgiveness may not come quickly. It may not come easily. And for a while, it may not come at all. That is the emotional tension carrying this whole story forward. Ivy wants connection again. Electra may only want distance. Ivy wants to fix what she broke. Electra may still be too hurt to even think about that. Ivy wants to be heard. Electra may feel like her own voice was ignored from the very beginning. That emotional imbalance is what makes the fallout feel real. And here is what may hurt Ivy most of all. She may have no control left. For so long, she acted like she knew what was best. She interfered because she believed she could shape the outcome. But now, the outcome is out of her hands. Electra gets to decide what happens next. Electra gets to decide whether she wants space, silence, or eventually some kind of peace. That shift matters. Because after being manipulated, Electra needs her power back. She needs the freedom to set the boundary. She needs the right to protect herself. She needs the space to decide whether Ivy's apology means anything or whether it arrived too late to matter. And maybe that is the true turning point here. Not just that Ivy is sorry, but that Ivy may finally be learning to step back. If she really has learned something valuable about staying out of other people's business, then the next step is clear. She has to be patient. She has to stop pushing. She has to let Electra heal on her own terms. No more control, no more interference, no more trying to force a result. That may be the hardest challenge Ivy has faced in this whole storyline, because patience means sitting with guilt. Patience means accepting distance. Patience means understanding that wanting forgiveness is not the same as earning it. And right now, earning it may take a very long time. The bold and the beautiful spoilers are clearly setting up a situation where Ivy may have to wait before there is any real chance of restoring their family bond. That does not mean the bond is gone forever, but it does mean the road back will not be easy. It means Electra's pain will have to be respected. It means Ivy's apology, no matter how heartfelt, is only the first step. There is still a lot hanging in the air. Will Electra ever truly forgive Ivy? Will Ivy's remorse be enough to slowly reopen that door? Or has this betrayal changed their relationship in a way that cannot be undone anytime soon? Those are the questions that keep this story strong, because at its core, this is a family story about damage, regret, and the painful truth that even love can hurt when it turns into control. Ivy finally sees that now. She finally understands that interfering in Electra's life was wrong. She finally understands that her actions caused real pain. But understanding it now does not erase what Electra has already gone through. So for the moment, Ivy may have to live with the silence. She may have to accept being shut out. She may have to prove over time that she has truly changed. And Electra may need all the space in the world before she even considers letting her back in. That is what makes this apology scene matter. Not because it fixes everything, but because it opens the door to the harder truth. Sometimes saying sorry is only the beginning. Sometimes the real test is whether you can respect someone's pain after you caused it. Ivy is finally facing that test now. Do you think Ivy deserves Electra's forgiveness, or is this too little too late? Subscribe for daily the bold and the beautiful spoilers and updates.